Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. This is a continuation of the Call of Cthulhu adventure I've been running for my online group. This is the Adventures of the Horror Beneath the Hill. For those that have not played the Horror Beneath the Hill, this video will have spoilers. You'll know a lot about what's going on or what you could encounter, and if your memory is good enough, you'll know where you'll encounter some of it. So, not to spoil yourself on the fun you could have by discovering everything the first time fresh, I would recommend you click off this video now. Those that have played this adventure or that run adventures, continue on and enjoy what my party's been getting up to. My investigators have had a lot of fun so far. So, where we last left off, my two investigators have made their way into the underground complex. They've seen gray hairy ape creatures. They've encountered serpent motifs. They've been tracking something, and they've now realized they can't track it much more because the floor is now stone. They have just descended a 20-foot cliff at the end of last session, and now they're heading into a large corridor. So this is where it's taking place from the last game. So they look up to the right, which is north on the map, and they see a collapsed tunnel about 30 feet away. So this tunnel that they're entering is 20 foot wide, and it looks like it's actually well made, where most of the other tunnels looked natural in their passages. So they decide to head south, which was to their left, and they come across, within 30 feet, they come across another tunnel on the right that is narrow. I told them if their size was beyond a certain point, they'd have to make dex checks to squeeze into the tunnel. They decide not to go that way at the moment and continue south. 20 feet later, they have another corridor on their left. This one's a wider corridor. They also decide to keep going south. After another 30-40 feet, they encounter a giant sinkhole. And since they were moving slowly and not chasing or running from anything, they notice it without it being a danger to them. There is a 3-foot wide ledge on either side of the sinkhole to allow them to continue down this corridor. So, with advantage, I told them to make dex checks to walk the ledge, and they make it to the end of this corridor, which has an option to go left down a tunnel or right down a tunnel. So they decide to go right. So now they're headed west on the map. So as they keep going, they come up to another fork where they can go left or they can continue straight. They continue straight. After a little bit of time, they come to another choice. They can go right, which will take them north, or they can go left, which will take them south. They go left. After coming around a turn, they both made their spot hidden to notice an alcove that was behind them. And they see a ghast for the first time. After rolling their sanities and taking points of sanity here and there, they begin combat with the ghast, and they open fire with the guns they had on them. So the downside is they open fire with the guns. The upside is the guns do a lot of damage if you hit with them. And one guy's using a sawed-off shotgun, and he is close enough for it to do 4 dice damage. So he ends up, after the guy with the pistol fires and does some damage, he ends up blowing the thing's head off with his roll. It's the first time I've seen a bunch of criticals rolled in combat in a good while in Call of Cthulhu. They then head back north because they want to explore what's north, and they come into a room That's the music chamber. And the description of it's sort of this weird organ with a few with skulls on top of the pipes where the air would leave the organ, and it's sort of playing a melody on its own. They make another sanity check just for the horrificness of it, and then they head back south. And they decide to head all the way south as far as they can, and then they have a choice to go left or right. Both are taking them south, and they decide to go right, which takes them into the temple of the father of serpents. And there they see a giant serpent god statue, and they get weird visions. Then from there, they continue on to another fork. They backtrack, and then they continue down to another fork, and they head into the suspended animation chamber, which has a bunch of leathery sacks hanging from the ceiling, and one of which is open, but nothing's there. And that is where the adventure ended this last game. So they've skipped like 2 big areas they avoided by not going down certain corridors. And then they are very close to the final room where you get to actually encounter the ruler of this underground cavern. So, and in one of the rooms they skipped, there was more hints on what was under here. So it's a handout that they didn't get to see, which is interesting in and of itself, the fact the path they picked. Plus, out of the 3 times I've ran this is the second group that was able to defeat a ghast in their first encounter. The first group, they had the pre-made characters out of Doors of Darkness, and he was the boxer, and he defeated it pretty much in hand-to-hand combat, which was very impressive, especially the fact that I didn't roll worth anything when I was playing the ghast that time. This time, they just had guns, and they were able to take advantage of the first round and their incredibly good rolls and criticals to take the thing out. I'm looking forward to seeing if this will conclude next week or if it'll take 2 more game sessions to conclude. Either way, I'll keep you all up to date with these updates. So, until we all game again, guys,